have a very special guest today. His name is Marc from the Koelen. And when you go to watch this podcast, you will see why he is special. Marc, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
You flew all the way to Dubai to do this?
Only for this we flew to Dubai, so we decided it's nice, and then let's make a small holiday in addition, and then everybody happy.
Thank you so much for coming. For the people that are watching, Marc resides in the Netherlands. He's from the Netherlands. Marc, you have a very successful business, Troy Companies, which has multiple companies in it. You are young. You have built up these companies while you are still, when you were even younger. Can you share, please, your journey about starting these companies and building them up?
Yeah, no problem. So before I started working as a profession, I was a professional athlete, which I did for quite a while. Then I get some injuries on my knees, so I needed to stop. My uncle, he had a business in the lighting industry, so he was importing lighting from China, from the US, some big brands. And all the weekends and all the holidays I was working over there for repacking. And then at 17 I decided to start my own business. So I started my own business, I think at 17 or 18.
Wow.
Just trying to import some goods from China. I started with a wine rack and some wine accessories. I think at the age of 19 I went bankrupt.
Oh.
So my first bankruptcy, after I borrowed some money from my parents, and then within 2 years I lost everything and I had nothing left. Then I joined W&O Products at that time, at the age of 19, still very young. But was a small company, trading company, doing some license items, but also some non-license. So mainly what we are active in was in the non-food items. So at 19 I joined over there. I think at the age of 23 I became a partner over there. And then when I was 28 I bought a majority share in the company. Then from that point, my business partner was at that time 58 to 60, so he wanted to retire. Then we had multiple options of selling the business because we were quite successful in what we were doing. We're growing quite fast year in, year out. But at the end, yeah, I decided to go for the company Forte Capital, which was an investment company, but mainly a driver, owner-driven company. So it was a family office, not 100% private equity, but owned by one single person, which was also a business guy himself. And we had the plan to grow the business together. And that is what we did. So we bought, I think, 4 or 5 or 6 businesses in the last 3 years. And that group is called now Troy Companies. So that is what we do now. And then in the meantime, I think starting in 2008, I started my own investment company where I support startups, investing in other companies, in mostly trading businesses as a minority shareholder, just helping, advising, and besides that I launched now my 3rd property fund, which I'm also started running since 2008. So that's why we are where we are standing today.
That's quite a story. There's a lot to touch on there, and I'm going to digest that piece by piece during the conversation. One of the things that I want to ask you first about is on LinkedIn you shared a post, and in one of the comments somebody called him Chefy, where you thanked an individual person for giving you a chance, an opportunity 20 years ago. Can you please tell a little bit more about that story?
Yeah, so Chefy actually is Mr. Werner Hatterscheid. So yeah, he was the one when I was, I think, 18 or 19, where I joined his business. He was already quite successful by that time, and he gave me the opportunity, to join his business, not as a shareholder, but I mean, I was 19, I had no education, I had no experience, but he thought that I had something that perhaps could bring his business onto the next level. So I started working with him. I think for the upcoming 10, 15 years, I worked 24/7, 7 days a week together with Werner. He let me quite free. He gave me the opportunity to develop myself, to develop the business, even to make mistakes, which he already knew up front. Then in the meantime, also all the other companies, all the other investments, all the properties, everything that I did together with him in a 50-50 structure. So I mean, the guy could have made the decision to give me a nice salary or to reward me in a financial way. But at the end, he decided to let me become a mutual shareholder in the businesses. And until today, I'm very grateful for the fact that he gave me the opportunity to do this. He's retired now, I think, for 2 or 3 years. But outside Troy companies and some of the properties that I'm doing, still all the other businesses that I'm running is 50-50 together with him. So still a good connection, and still very grateful to be in the position, or to have been in the position to met this guy that gave me the opportunity to start doing my business.
I mean, he must have seen something that, now of course it's easier to say in hindsight that he was right, but at that time it was a gamble, and in business it's not normal to give somebody equal shareholding, especially when you don't have much skin in the game yet. Yeah,
but the equal shareholding became 8 years later after I joined the company. I mean, I started from zero, started in the warehouse, started in the bookkeeping, in the cleaning, whatever there was to do. I was unloading the containers myself. But I think I was one of the few people that was willing to work between 80 and 100 hours a week, week in, week out, never complaining, traveling a lot. And I always had the idea, okay, if I don't succeed in this business or in this company with all the experience and the things I can learn now, I think moving forward it will help me anyway.
Yeah, and it has worked out in a very well way. And one of the things that you have been doing in those years was traveling a lot, like you mentioned. How is it as a Dutch person to go abroad and to do business all around the world?
I think it's quite nice to be capable of traveling, to get the opportunity to travel. I mean, I was spending 10 days a month in China for 10, 15 years. I think it's nice to see the different cultures from the people, the different mentalities, the way of working, all the small things that every country has different. I mean, I traveled especially a lot to Asia, but also a lot in South America, North America, and Europe. So I was doing, at one side I was doing the buying, and on the other side I was doing the selling. So I had the position to be at both ends of the table. So I really enjoyed it, and I liked it quite a lot.
I remember you were one of the first people that was talking about China and going there and doing business. And now everybody's like, of course, China, right? Manufacturing hub of the world. But at that time, 20 years ago, it was not yet.
20 years ago, it was already developing a little bit. I mean, like we say now, 20 years ago, then at that time, my business partner already was 20 years in China, and they were one of the first people going out there. But I mean, it still is, and I mean, with the mentality from the people and the working ethic that they have, and the investments that they make in the production and this kind of stuff moving forward, yeah, I think China will be there for quite a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things you mentioned, you were an athlete, you were a runner, you were very good at it. You must have had a lot of training, discipline, but you transitioned into having your own business. How was that to get the injury and to realize something you were doing for so many years with so much dedication and focus was not anymore possible? And how did you pick yourself up to become something else?
I mean, at the end of the week, it's just life. I mean, sometimes something goes well, sometimes it goes wrong. And realistically, I mean, I was doing very well on running. I think I was in my best periods. I was number 12 or 13 in the world back then on the 1500 meters. But yeah, if you look to the past and to everything, if it's in running, in soccer, in business or whatever, there's always only a small percentage that will have success. And there's quite a big group that will not make it until the end. And for me, that was the case. Yeah. And okay, I fell a little bit in a gap because I was training like 2 times a day, seven days a week. And then at one time I had nothing to do anymore because I couldn't train because I was injured. Yeah. And then, I think it changed quite quickly. I went back to school, started studying economics in the evenings. And then besides that, I tried building my own business. Yeah.
Do you feel that you have been running through business as well?
I mean, at the end, it's the same. If sporting as a professional or you're running a business, it's both a profession. I mean, it's nice on the results you will achieve, but on the other hand, you need to have some sacrifices to get there. Yeah. And the main problem is, I mean, you can try, but it's not a guarantee that you will have success. Yeah. And it's both the same.
Yeah. And one of the things that you that I want to talk with you about is you met my brother in high school in SSGN, and you guys are still friends. Do you ever reflect back on your time at that time, and like what memories do you have from that? Because now you have accomplished so much, you have done so many milestones, you've seen so much, you've traveled so much.
Yeah, for me, I always had the dedication. I mean, not in school, but first it was in sport, later it was in business. So for me, I always made already the sacrifices from the beginning. When everybody was partying, I was working, or I was training, or I was not allowed to go. Or so no, I mean, I enjoyed the time. But yeah, there had been quite a lot of sacrifices from day one.
Yeah, and now you are reaping the benefits from those sacrifices.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if you're lucky and you're succeeding in your plan, then later on in life you will have some nice advantages on that one.
Yeah, and you mentioned this as well earlier on. Private equity came into your life. Yeah. They bought, I think, a significant share of your company, but you are still also a major shareholder. How was that experience that somebody knocks on your door and says, "We want to buy you"?
Yeah, for me it was not like really a big surprise. We were quite successful at a business already at that moment. I mean, you saw like that there was becoming like sort of a buy and build strategy within our sort of business, so in the non-food retail. For me, for myself personally, I was ready for the next step. Yeah. I was doing my business on an automated pilot, so it was actually quite simple, and we were making nice money, and it was quite successful. But for me, it was not. I was already over the point that the money really was the biggest thing. I missed the challenge, And then, yeah, I knew when the private equity was coming in with the plans they had to make it bigger and to grow the business and yeah, to make it get a more significant place in the business. Yeah. Yeah, then I knew there was coming a new learning curve for myself, so I was quite enthusiastic. Of course, I was also a little bit afraid in the beginning, because you hear the good stories and the bad stories about the private equity coming in. Okay. And now 3 years later, for me, I can say for me it was a good decision. But yeah, I think it's an exciting moment for everybody. If you're selling the business, okay, where do you want to go to? How do you want to develop it? And if it works out the way that you plan for yourself. Yeah.
And you continued that journey by also investing in young entrepreneurs, if I am correct. So how is that going?
Yeah, but we are doing what we are doing is so we are still investing in companies, sometimes in startups, sometimes in existing companies where we take a minority share. So we are not really like an, and what I'm doing myself is not really the private equity side. I mean, I let the entrepreneur be the entrepreneur. Yeah. It's more helping, supporting them during the road. Yeah. I mean, if they want to buy me out in a later stage, they can buy me out. I mean, we're not talking about multiples or this kind of things. I'm just trying to help them. If I see the success, I like it myself. And yeah, I'm doing this investment mostly because I had one day the opportunity given by one person, so I try to give back this opportunity to other people. Yeah. And but I need to say most of the companies we are investing in ourselves are doing good. I mean, it's not that we are building crazy big companies, but I mean everybody's having success on his own level. Yeah. And the people, they like it, they can make a good living on it, they develop themselves. So that's from the private part where I'm investing in the companies myself is my biggest my biggest goal of achievement.
And one of the things that I also wanted to ask you was you did not share this post. It was actually put on LinkedIn by somebody else. They were thanking you for giving like a whole truck, I think, full of brand new toys to a charity that gives this away to children that are from a poor background. Can you tell a little bit more about that story?
Yeah, I think it's an obligation from every single entrepreneur that is doing well to give back something to society. Yeah. I mean, if you make good money, it's nice to make money, but you have nothing when you have the money by yourself. So you need to share, and sharing can be with your family, with your friends or whoever. But I think it's also quite important that you try to support a little bit the people that were not so lucky to become in this good position, that you also try to help them.
Yeah. And how did that make you feel when you saw the reaction from them? And
no, I think, I mean, I do every year, I do multiple things for the charity. I mean, can be do a fundraising or can be something I organize myself. But yeah, I think it's necessary if you see what is happening in the world that you also give something back. And I need to say some of the feedback you get is very supportive, but also sometimes the reaction is not as what you expected. Yeah. But okay, at the end I will continue every single year that I will do well for myself. I try to give some back.
Yeah, that's a great gesture, and you know, actions speak louder than words. And forget about when sometimes people, you know, they cannot be positive because they don't have it in them. But that should not stop you from doing what you're doing. And I wanted to also ask you, like in general, in your journey, in your life, what has been some of your most hardest moments? Maybe you already touched on those, and some of your most beautiful moments in life.
Yeah, I think my hardest moment was, I think, my bankruptcy at 19 with the money I borrowed from my parents.
Yeah.
So
How did that conversation go when you?
No, I need to say my parents were quite relaxed at that moment. I think I paid them back 4 or 5 years later. I think they were also quite happy that the money finally was coming back.
Yeah.
I need to say they never asked me in between for the money. But I think in the back of their heads they knew that I still owe them some money. So I was quite happy at the moment that I could pay back. Yeah, for the rest, I mean, it's a journey. You have your better days, you have the worst days. I mean, you have people leaving the company, mistakes you make, investments you make that are going wrong. But at the end, I think don't really see it as a success or a failure or whatever. It's part of the learning curve that we have to make. So yeah, not really thinking about the bad or the worst experiences. I think it's all part of the journey that we have to make, and there will be nobody sitting in this chair with only successes or only failures. I mean, it's find a good balance and find a good mixture for yourself, and make the successes bigger than your failures. Then at the end of the week you will do okay.
That must have been, yeah, you know, at the same time I think your parents wanted you to succeed, and that happened eventually, but maybe not at 19, but it needed to take some years. And you're totally right that you need to make mistakes to get success, to learn from that. And what has been some of your most beautiful moments in your journey till date?
Some of my most beautiful moments. I don't know, I don't really think that I have like some special real moments that are pointing out for me. I mean, yeah, when I was capable in 2008 of investing in my first property, was quite a nice moment.
Yeah.
When we bought the new building, we built quite a big building like 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, my next phase with selling the company and going really international. Yeah, the start or the breakthrough from some of our brands. I mean, Toy Universe was my first real brand, which I started and became quite successful from the start. So I think that are some of the nice moments, but there's not, for me, not something particularly that is pointing out or that is, no, I think my nicest moment will still come.
Okay, that's nice. Maybe we can touch base on that in the future again. And in general, for the people that don't know exactly what your business is about, you're big in the toy industry.
Yeah, so we with toy companies actually we run a non-food merchandise company based for the mass market. So we make merchandise for the mass market, so for the supermarkets, for the Aldis, the Actions, the Lidls, whatever, all the big retail. And this can be from candles to textile to toys. I mean, toys is the part where I started from origin. Yeah. So we have now 3 different branches where we are active. So one is the cookie company. This is a textile-based company. Then we have Dress, is a candle and a computer accessory company or telephone accessories. And then we have W&O, is the company which I worked for 20 years. So this is the company that was doing mainly the toys, games, this kind of stuff, and all kind of household items, Christmas, seasonal, all this kind of items.
You have partnered up with some of the biggest brands out there, right?
Yeah.
Marvel, Disney, who names it? Probably people, especially in the Netherlands, have bought your toys without even knowing it, but it came through you. But you also have, I believe, your own brand.
Yeah, so we have some different branches in the business. So one of the businesses we have is we do a lot of private label. We do for the big accounts. Mm-hmm. So we did, for example, for Aldi, we were doing all the merchandise with Aldi branded, with the swim shorts, the slippers, this kind of stuff. Then besides that, we are big in licenses. So we are a licensee from Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, Paw Patrol, Gabby's Dollhouse, yeah, you name it, and normally we have it. And then besides that, we have our own licenses. Yeah. And our own licenses can be like Glam Girls at the moment is quite popular. We are Ojo, which is a plush brand, which is doing very well. And then we have a fourth pillar, and that's our own brands. So Toy Universe, Home Universe, Party Universe, and so go on.
So if we go to your home, it's full of toys?
Yeah, we have, so together we have 5 kids in the house, so it's quite busy, so we have quite a lot of toys. I mainly try to avoid a little bit our own toys because I see them all day long. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, normally spoken, I think, especially in our strongest countries, I will be surprised if parents with a child won't have 5 items of more from us in the house.
That's pretty impressive, and you're still building and still expanding. So. That is not even the end of the road yet. When it comes to setting up your own brand, how was that? Because I think you started first with some of the biggest brands in the world, and then you have also managed successfully to roll out your own brands. Was that a learning journey, a learning curve, or did it just go like that?
No, it's different. I mean, I tried to create some differences in the market. I mean, everybody was doing the private label at the moment that we started, and we saw that the margin was only shrinking and shrinking. So we thought, okay, perhaps we can come up with some brands. Okay, then you come in the division like the Zurus, the Hasbros, the Mattels, like all the big players. Yeah. But I think the big difference was I never had the intention to build an A brand. I tried to be something between the private label and the A brands, so to create value for money, but with a little bit of look and feel and a recognizable touch from the customer about quality and the value. So this is what we did. We did it, not really like a marketing brand, because if you really want to build a brand again from scratch, it's not that easy. But okay, we were quite lucky that we had the support from some big retailers in Europe that were supporting us on building the brands. And just by the fact that we put all this merchandise into the shop and started branding, then there came a sort of recognition by the selling. So not really by the marketing, but more by the selling and the fact that we were out there in the shops represented. This caused for us the fact that we were building the brands. Not an A brand, I can say some of the brands we have, step by step now are becoming a B brand. And
did you do that within your company, or did you get like external advice on it? Because I still think it's pretty amazing just to roll that out.
No, we did everything ourselves internally. But okay, this was done by the marketing department, and they did a very good job on building the brands, building the own licenses. And then on the other hand, I mean, we already had the buying and the selling force to present this in the market. We just made it. We had experience, of course, with the branding because we were working already for all the big brands out there. So we knew a little bit how to create a brand and how to create a license. So this is what we set up, what we followed. We followed the example from the big brands, and this is what we do a lot. I mean, don't try to do it yourself if there's already somebody out there that is doing a very, very good job. Exactly. I mean, use this as an inspiration and give it your own look and feel about it. And then you can also create something.
Yeah, and Where do you see opportunities now in the market? Because you have touched on different industry, you are in different industries. Are you working on something new, or?
Yeah, we are investing on expanding in territories.
Mm-hmm.
So we just have somebody that is starting now. We call it rest of world. Mm-hmm. So we start now Middle East. We are starting now South America, we are starting South Africa, we are starting Australia, New Zealand, we are opening. We also just opened a new office in the UK like 6 or 7 months ago, which we are entering now. So we are expanding and trying.
That's very exciting, and at the same time, do you see a difference in the demand, for example, the spending power or what the customer wants there? And if so, how do you play into that as a company?
For us, I think the customer, the main customer, what we are aiming for is still the impulse customer. Mm-hmm. So it's like more toy related or something for at home. So for the kids, I mean, we try to follow the latest trends, the latest developments. I mean, at the moment, plush, for example, is a category that is doing very well. I mean, and then you have the big brands like Squeezy Mellow and this kind of people, which are flying, and then we try to get a little bit on the back of this. We try to get also the sales of these categories that are growing very fast. Yeah, we look all the trends in the market, see what is out there, see what is the demand from the people. Yeah. And this can be from a buying point of view, or be based on what marketing, what the input is coming from the marketing department on what is hot and what is happening in the market.
Yeah, and for example, I can imagine that that there will be some differences between different continents, because you're literally selling now in different continents. Are you like a Zara, that you can play into trends very fast and just can roll it out?
I hope we can be faster than Zara,
faster.
Because Zara, of course, is quite a big machine, and we try to be very flexible. Yeah. So no, I think we can be very on trend, and from the moment the trend is spotted until the moment we can have it in the showroom will be between 4 to 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. And let's say within 2 and 3 months after, we can be on the shelf. So from the moment the trend is spotted until the on-shelf date, you're talking about 5-6 months.
That's very fast. Plus, have it spotted the trend and have it landed in the shelf within that period of time. Yep. What will be an average turnaround time from like another big brand if they would try to do that?
Yeah, I think normally, I mean, it's depending if you build the brand. Yeah. Or you're inspired by the brand and taking it to the shelf. I mean, like building the trend probably will take years and years. Yeah. Because then it's marketing driven, and I mean, there's nothing on the moment that there is a trend. I mean, you're talking between 4 to 12 months for an average company. Yeah. But I think to build the trend, it can be 3 to 5 years, depending on who you are, what you do.
So what is a trend? For example, the past period. If you give an example on, like, this was a trend, and your company saw it, and this is how you played into it.
Yeah, we have different trends. So you can have trends on an individual level, on a product level. Yeah. So it means that, for example, like I say, plush now is a trend, and then besides that, you can have trends in our business based on licenses. So I mean, it can be like Frozen at the moment. We are talking Minnie Mouse again, very strong. Harry Potter, very strong. Gabby's Dollhouse, very strong. The latest trend now, Stitch, which is crazy strong. I mean, this is coming from 4 months ago. Then Zara launches a collection from Stitch or C&A or another big retailer, and then the whole market is following very quick. And then they create the trend for the rest of the market.
So somebody else creates a trend, must have a big budget for that as well, and pushes it. And then I think it's smart to just follow that crowd, because the demand is created, and all they are looking for is good products to buy then.
sometimes it's easier to be the follower than to be the inventor from the trend.
Yeah, absolutely true. Especially specifically if you're wrong, you know, because then you have spent a lot on something that didn't work out. And what's in it for your future in terms of other plans? Do you, how do you see your company developing, and B, yourself, because you said you need challenges, you like to be challenged. What will challenge you the coming years?
I need to say at the moment I'm challenged more than enough. I mean, the way we are building the business now, I think we grow the business 3 to 4 times in the past 3 years now after the investment company joined. I mean, we are expanding into new territories, also on the headcount of the people that we have involved in the company is big. I mean, we're operating, I think, in 6 or 7 different countries now with own offices. So I think there's still a lot of challenge for me, and with regards to my own future, my own challenge, I think I stay in this company as long as I like it. Until now, I still like it, so I don't have a timeline or a time frame that I want to go out. Perhaps I enjoy myself for the upcoming 20 years.
Just a hot topic right now is transportation costs, because of freight costs going up exponentially because of what is happening with Yemen and stuff like this. How do you play into that? Because you have your costs will also be impacted then, right?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, this is part of the business. 1 year is the currency that is exchanging. The other year is the raw materials that go up. Then the other year, there's no container available. I mean, it's part of the business, and you can't anticipate on it. I mean, be flexible, try to find a solution, and work together with your customers as a partnership and not as a customer supplier base.
And for aspiring entrepreneurs that don't have the business yet, they don't have the capital yet, but they have the hunger and that they are watching, what would you be able to tell them?
Learn to say no. The most important thing.
And why? Why is it important to say no?
Because it's easy to go in an investment. It's easy to say yes to everything. I mean, have your strategy, have your vision, work on this goal. Don't get any distraction from the goal you have. And I mean, if you're capable of saying no, it's the biggest possibility you stay focused in what you're doing.
I fully agree, and actually I was speaking with another guest of mine a couple of months ago, and we discussed this point specifically, that how important it is to say no, because time is one of the resources that is very scarce, and also then when you say no, you can also say yes. Do you agree with that?
No, but it's the fear in every stage of your journey to say no. I mean, before you have success, you need to make the decision, what kind of business am I going to do? You need to believe in it. And then the next guy comes up with a great idea and you want to say yes because you think it's better. No, stay to your strategy, stay to your vision. If you think and you know it's working, okay, you can fine tune it a little bit during the road, but you don't change it. And then once you're on the journey, you also need to stay focused, need to learn no. And then you get to the phase where you have the success, and then the most important thing is to learn to say no, because that is the point that everybody needs something from you. And so it's saying no, I think, is quite a valuable lesson in building a business. And work hard.
Work hard, say no, and focus.
Yeah, it's quite simple. I think it has never been more simple to make money than nowadays, because there are not so many people out there that are willing to spend 80 or 100 hours a week on the floor to work.
And And what do you see now? Do you see a mentality shift compared to before, where people were
I don't
more
know
willing?
if it's a mentality shift. I mean, 20 years ago, my dad said to me, you're from this generation, you don't want to work. I mean, nowadays, I hear everybody from my age saying the same. I think has nothing to do with mentality. I mean, the world is changing, and the world is changing every day. And probably in 20 years, the people where we say now about that they are from the new, the Z generation that are not willing to work, they will say the same about the next generation. I think it's just be flexible and anticipate on what is happening. I mean, if it's mentality, the world or whatever, it will change. If you can't adapt, I think that's the biggest problem.
Well, you heard it all from Marc van der Koelen, and we touched base on a lot of things. Marc, I want to thank you so much for coming and making the time.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And there could be a part 2, so stay tuned. Thank you.
Thanks
Marc.
very much. Appreciate it.